everyone, welcome. I'm Laura Rogers. This is SharePoint Power Hour, and I have Joelle Jobson here on audio.
Hello.
We SharePoint Power Hours, a free show that we do live Wednesdays at 11 Central, where we demo stuff in SharePoint, Office 365, and just no-code, business user-y type stuff that you can do. We've been doing this for, 3-4 years now? So I think you told me the other day what the date was. It was 3 or 4 years. And it used to be mostly SharePoint focused, but over the past couple of years, it's evolved to be like we have a ton of Office 365 stuff, not just specifically SharePoint. So, of course, PowerApps is a huge part of Office 365, and it's a huge part of the way we can customize SharePoint lately. So we've been doing a lot of Power Hours having to do with PowerApps. And let's see. So this week, again, real quick, we have a Slack channel. So in the YouTube description and in the Facebook description, there's a link to the Slack channel. It's iwmentor.slack.com. That's where the fun is. That's the fun of having it be a live show, is that we can have conversations and chat and ask questions and commentary during the show. And you never know what's going to happen. So, all right, today's demo is going to be PowerApps. And it's going to be something common that people have always wanted to be able to do in lists in SharePoint and just lists in PowerApps in general, is to be able to have a bunch of filter drop-downs at the top of a list to be able to quickly filter that list by multiple criteria. So I've partially built out this concept in PowerApps, so I'm going to take you through all the different sort of parts to what I have in there and kind of show you the step-by-step and how I built it and how it works. And so let's see, I'll go ahead and share my screen. All right, now this is a SharePoint list, and we actually did a whole other Power Hour where we talked about how to do these cool little conditional formatting customizations. But of course, when you're in SharePoint and you're in the browser in SharePoint, you can filter a list by clicking the little filter button and filtering it by any particular criteria this way. But in PowerApps, that functionality doesn't exist just out of the box. You have to build that if you want to have that type of thing inside of your Power App. So I'm going to do this with a gallery, and I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about. I'll go ahead and I'm just going to open one of these up. I have a form, and then I just created another screen in this Power App that just has basically a gallery for all the projects. And what I'll show you here is, let me click my little test button. Like I said, I've got this sort of partially built. I didn't completely build it out because I want to show you all the different pieces. But I've got all the different customers in a drop down and different statuses in a project manager. So you can say pick a particular customer like Contoso, or pick all of them, pick a status, pick a project manager. And so the idea is that you'd want to be able to have like a all for all three of these. So you could say basically all project managers, all customers, and just everything that's completes. And basically you pick what you want and then click the filter button to narrow it down to see exactly what results you need. So you can have, you could put just drop down boxes at the top of all of your columns if you wanted to. Now, as I build this, I'm going to keep it pretty simple. We have different column types in here, like customer in SharePoint could be a lookup, status could be a choice field, project manager could be a person field. When I'm doing this demo, I'm going to do it based on just text, because I don't want it to get all confused with all the kind of weird things that you have to do to be able, when you're working with those more complex type of fields. So these are all just going to be straight up text fields, and then we'll show you kind of all that functionality. And this filter stuff in here, that's what we built in the last Power Hour, where you can, sort. You can sort by different columns on the fly like that. All right, so now that you all are in here and you understand the concept, I'll go ahead and go customize this form, go customize it in PowerApps, and talk through all these little pieces, how it works. Do you guys find that this is a common thing that you've wanted to be able to do in SharePoint, and a common request in your requirements when you're building custom solutions in SharePoint? Just let me know in the chat. All right, I have my big, giant, purple, ugly project information form, and this is the screen where we're going to have all the fun today, the project list. I'll zoom in a little bit more. And then, okay, so what I have is I have a gallery, and I have, this gallery is just the data in the gallery is just the collection called filter projects. And now we can talk towards the end about how you can make this so that it shows all the projects by default, and then when you filter something, then it shows the filtered list. But again, I'm trying to keep it simple and break it down. So I'm just going to say that the data that we're working with in this that we want to see here is just a collection, filtered projects. And this sort stuff is what we built last time when we built those little dynamic little arrows on the top of each column. So this sort stuff has nothing to do with what we're doing with the filtering. All right, so I added some drop-down boxes. Now let me go ahead and show you. So what you'd want to do is, and let me just start from scratch with just adding a drop-down box. So I'm going to delete this drop-down box. DRP PM is what I called it. And I'll go insert. I'm not going to insert all three of them. I'm just going to do one, and then I'm going to show you kind of building upon it and all the pieces. So I'll do a new drop-down box. Just put it right above here. And then it's going to have just some numbers in it by default. So the data that I want is going to be, I only want to show each project manager once. I don't want it to show me every single project manager, like every single item in the list. So I could do like projects dot p, so we can see projects dot. So if I did just straight up just the project manager name, let me go ahead and do my collect here. Then projects. Let me just type projects here. It's just my SharePoint projects. Anyway, what I don't want is I don't want it to show every single item in the entire list. I want it to only show me each project manager one time. Oops. So I want to do a distinct, and then in my projects, I want it to, let me just undo and put it what it was. Hold on, I thought I copied it to the clipboard when I did that just now. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, there it goes. To collect projects PM text. So it's going to be distinct of this collection that I've got. Now I haven't actually collected this yet, so let me go ahead and do that. I'll add that to my little test button here. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. I want to be able to, I have it so that when I arrive on the screen it does the collect, but I want to just be able to conjure up this collection as I'm testing this stuff. So I'm just going to add it to this button so that I don't have to wait for that functionality and click back and forth between screens as I'm doing this demo. So CLL projects. And then just click this button here. And then I don't have anything in there. Let's see. All right, so that's going to show me, now you saw it in the demo. You saw how it showed a list of project managers. What I want it to show me is a distinct list, but I also want it to show me this all. So what I need to do is not just collect the distinct project managers. Let me go ahead and make sure I'm collecting this collection of projects so I can Yeah, distinct collect. Oh, okay, yeah. Distinct, clear, collect projects, collect customer names. All right, clear, collect projects. All right, I want to put that at the beginning. I don't want to get into the whole customer names and the status and any of that stuff yet. I just want to be able to show you the collection real quick. All right. View. Okay, so there's our collection of projects. So then when I go to this drop-down box, I can go look at so it's not showing the right column in here. It's showing a list of everything in there, but it's not showing the right column. So what I need to do, and this is just the first step, so I'm building upon it. So I'm showing you the wrong way first of basically it's like listing absolutely everything in the whole list. And then we're going to look at how to narrow it down and how to make it so that it will show me just that small distinct list. So let's go look at Project Manager. Project Manager dot. And this is another reason that I'm doing a collection, is that I can't, okay, so if it's just a people field, I can't go get that specific information about that person. So that's why I'm doing a collection. It's one of the reasons that I kind of broke this down and decided to only do text. And that's why I'm doing a collection, is because these different kind of people fields are more complicated to deal with. So let's go look at that collection of projects. Let me go look at my on visible here. Let's see. On visible. Set project status. Collect projects. And then all right, distinct. Okay, so let's go look at my collection to see. I need to know what I'm dealing with. So the collection of projects is what I have before I start filtering it. So I've got my project manager, and I've got my these are all my fields, and you can see that project manager is one of those ones that's got everything sort of buried. It's like a table inside of a table. It's got everything buried in there. So that's what makes it one of those more complex fields. So let's go look at, let me go back to SharePoint and don't save it. So let's go look at that real quick. So I'll go open one of these. So project manager is a people field, but when I go, let me refresh this, because I know I added a button in here. Ooh, I like the way I refresh it and all the project names disappear. That's fun. Edit. Sometimes it takes a second. Okay. All right, so see, I can see that I have the distinct project manager names in here. But what I want to add is that all concept. Now the all thing is a little buggy, because one of the things that I've noticed is that I did put all as the default, that I want that to be the default for all these, but for some reason, I found this in customer projects and things like that I've been dealing with, that for some reason it keeps defaulting back to blank. So that's one of those buggy things that I'm not sure why it does that, and I'm not really sure what the best workaround is going to be, but we do want it to be able to show us all of any of these given items across here. So let's go ahead and customize that again. Okay, Now okay, here it is. I couldn't remember where I put that button. This is where it's actually, when I'm clicking from this first screen over to my list, that's where I put my logic, of course. So I'm collecting this, that's where I get my collection of projects. So I'm going to go ahead in this demo and click over to the other screen. So that way I have my data. And so this is why I need to do the distinct, because I don't want it to show everybody multiple times. All right, so this is where I can do distinct. We'll do the distinct, and then we'll do add the little all option. So collect projects and distinct of what, and I'll just do PM text is what I call this field. So everything distinct. So now, instead of it showing every single item in the list, it's only showing each person once. Okay, so that's the first step. You can do that for all of your different fields, is to do a distinct. So this is a distinct of the same collection of the status. And then this one is going to be something different, because I need to add the all. So what you can do is actually collect into a separate collection just that one small list of items, like just the customer names or just the statuses or just the project manager, and then add the little all item to that list. And I put a little asterisk in front of all so that it would just list it first. All right, so here's how you do that. So what I'm doing is let me get rid of this thing. Okay, let me split this out a little bit. Okay, so I'm doing a collection, and I'm calling it's a collection of customer names. And then I'm getting the distinct, as I build my collection, I'm only getting the distinct customer name. And so my collection is only going to consist of customer names, each just one time. And then I'm going to add one more item in here. So I'm going to do not a clear collect, but a collect will just add something as opposed to clearing the whole collection out and starting over, so that it's going to add to this collection this result of all. So let's do another one. Let's do the same concept for the project manager field. So I'm going to do clear collect. So that's the customer name one. And then I'm going to do back up here. Clear collect, and then this one's going to be COL project managers, and then distinct, and then my source is this collection of projects, and then which field do I want? I want the PM text is the field that I have that person's name in. And so that's my distinct. And then I want to go collect that one more item. So that's do that. And then it's a separate command. After I've done my clear collect, then I do collect. And then my collection of project managers. And this is where I'm adding one more item to it. So when I add a record, so see how it says up here in the little line up here where item, and it says a record or table. So when you have a record or table in PowerApps, you have to structure it this certain way. So you have to use these little curly brackets. And now I need to know what the name of the field is here that's going to be in this collection. So when I do my collection, so let me go ahead and just run this and do the collection so you'll know how I got this word result in the other one I want to show you. So go ahead and run test. And let's go view my collection. So this is the new one that I just created. And so I can see that it just created the column name of all the project managers that it generated is called result. So this is the field name that I want to go add this all item to. So that's how I know that it's called result, is just once I do the collection, I go and just look at what this column is called. All right, and then so let's go back to my test button here. So now I'll do that collect. And then do the curly brackets, and result is the name of the field. And then the value that I want to add is all. And then close my collect, and I'm finished. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the status as well. So let's go run this. So now I need to make my drop-down box. So let's go just look at my collection. Now my collection of project managers, let's see, it didn't do it. Oh, it only shows the first 5 when you're looking at this little preview. So all is in there, but you just can't see it in the preview. Okay. So let's go, now I need to go zoom back in here and go to my list of project managers, and instead of for items putting distinct collect projects, I'm just going to do that new collection of just project manager names that I just collected. And let's go look at what that looks like. See, now it just stuck all at the end. And also notice that some of the items in the project list might have an empty project manager name. So I'll probably have to accommodate for a project having no project manager name, just like skipping those or something. So we can work on that in a minute. All right, so now what I want to do is I want all to be on the top. So just like I did with this one, I sorted it. So I'll sort this one. Sort the collection of project managers by result is the only field in there. It's pretty simple. And so now all is on the top. And then what I'd also want to do is go to this default thing and put all in there. Of course, like I said, it acts a little weird and it doesn't do it all the time. It doesn't work correctly. So put default of all. Put default of all in this one too, and it still doesn't default to all. Not sure why. And then, so we want to do the same thing with the status. So, and then this test button, like all this stuff that we're doing to do these collections, this can just be something that you run, like when you click the button to go to this page, or in this page is on visible. And, you know, it wouldn't be an extra button that you'd have to click. This is just what I'm doing, like to test out and isolate this functionality. Nicholas, yes, you can create a collection for a large SQL database table. It's just, sometimes it's pretty quick when you just do a straight up collect, but when you start doing things like referencing it later in your Power App and going to find referencing specific records and things like that, that sometimes slows stuff down. I've done that. And then Nicholas, in your gallery, you're still going to be limited to that number of items. So where is it? Right here. So you have to kind of balance increasing this value if you want to show more in a gallery all at once. That could risk like slowing down your performance if it's trying to show, and you can go up to 2,000 here if you're trying to show more than 500 all at once. So, but you technically can. I kind of had to kind of balance and tweak that in a big project that I'm working on that does that exact thing with a large SQL database with, well, I don't know how large you consider large. This one's got like, I don't know, 5,000 items in it. So, all right, so now we're going to do the same concept with the status. So I'm going to do a clear collect, and then remember you can do Shift Enter to go after you do your open parentheses. The Shift Enter will go to the next line. It will automatically indent it for you. Click Status, and then distinct. I'm pretty sure my statuses are already for a status for something that's very sort of static, you could just do something like have a little table of information in your drop-down box and do and build it that way. But I'm just going to do this one the same way I did all the other ones. Distinct of that same projects one and status. And close that. And then another command is to collect, and basically the thing where I'm adding the all item to it. Status. Y'all understand? Does this make sense? And if you'd like to learn all this stuff from scratch and really understand collections and patching and tables and galleries and all this more complicated stuff, we do teach a 4-day PowerApps class on iwmentor.com. And we have a live one coming up in June. Little shameless plug there. All right, so now we're going to do all three. Let's go do that. Let's see. So now I can go look at my collections, and I can see that I've got these different ones listed. And I want to make my status dropdown have that collection in it. And I also want to sort it by results. Oops. And then I also want to make all be the default. All right, now let's go. Now we need to know, I need to teach you what this filter button does, because all we've done so far is just the drop-down boxes. So we have done nothing with like actually filtering the data. All we've done is just how do you make the drop-down boxes show this subset of information. All right, so now this is the tricky part and the pretty complicated part. So the button here. Okay, so this is creating a collection called this collection of filtered projects, and it's doing a filter of my collection of projects. And the collection of projects is just all my projects, and that's just everything. So it's going to filter my collection of projects. So this is where the fanciness comes in. Look at this line right here. So this is the one that I had already built out. Remember, before I started was the customer actually already had the all in it and was already had the filter functionality in it to show all versus one, and the other two didn't. So this is the one that already has this. Okay, so I'm going to filter by what I've picked in the drop down. So let me show you my drop downs. So this is DRP customer, DRP status, and then this is the one I recreated, and it's DRP PM. So those three are important, and you need to know what those are called. So let's go look at the button again. Okay, so I'm going to filter this collection of projects. So the status field is equal to whatever status I pick in this drop down. So I'll show you like building this out, like DRP status dot selected dot results, and then customer field is filtered by whatever I've picked in the customer drop down, and the PM is filtered by whatever I've picked in the PM drop down. Now, if I just like hold my hand over here and pretend like this stuff isn't here, then what I'd have to do is I would have to pick something specific from all three drop downs. But sometimes I want to be able to just say all project managers, show me all completed projects and that kind of thing. I don't want to have to filter by every single one, right? As long as y'all understand that concept. You're very quiet today. All right, so this is where this OR, so this little double pipe is an OR. So it means basically filter it by whatever I've picked in the drop down, or filter it to where just the result is, if the result is all. So basically if the result is all, it's there isn't a selection, and otherwise it's going to filter it by what I do have selected. So let's go build out this same concept with the other ones. DRP status dot selected dot results equals magic. Okay, and then this one for drppm dot selected dot results equals all. All right, now let's go see what happens. Okay, so I've got all, and now look, I've got all my projects, and then I've got change that to complete and leave those at all. And now I've got all my complete projects. So now you can see that it lets me go and pick some specific things if I want to, but I don't have to, that I don't have to pick something from all three drop downs. I could just have them all default to all like that. Now that I put the defaults to all for all of these, let's go look at, let's go see if I can make this page so that it actually shows everything by default. So what I'd want to do is, as soon as people arrive on this page, I'd want to do this filter. So let me just take all this, I'm going to take all this stuff I did on the test thing, copy that, and go back over here to this button, and then add this. So it's going to do all this stuff when people click to go to this screen that lists everything. And then I'm also going to take all this and do that too. Copy. So it's going to do a whole bunch of stuff when I click this button. It's going to create all the drop down. So it already does this collection thing at the top, and it's navigating to that screen. It's going to collect all the data that needs to be in those three drop downs, and then it's going to collect this filtered projects, but there's no actual filter on any of those yet. So let's see if it'll show me all the data when I do that. So let's see. No, it doesn't. See, like I said, it doesn't like when I put them defaulting to all, but let's just go ahead and publish this and see what the behavior is. Because it might have just still been remembering what I had selected a minute ago when I was poking around and changing all those items. All right, now I'm back to my list. I like to do a hard refresh on the list when I have like major changes that I've made to the Power App. I'm not sure where the project name went, by the way. It's weird. It must not like something in my browser. Okay, so here's the information. I'm going to click this button to go over to my list. Now, yeah, see, it doesn't like, even though I put all as the default. Oh, look, this is the old version. See, like I said, I need to refresh it, and it didn't. It still has the test button and everything. So even though I did a hard refresh, let me just do that again. Sometimes it still just has like this cached older version of the Power App in it. Maybe it took longer, so maybe it's fixed now. No, it's still my old version. Let me just close that. I just got to get it, because I know I just made all those changes and published it. I just have to make it so that it will actually open that version. Oh, SharePoint. Okay, that's the view, and I'll go edit. It's still doing it. That's weird. What if I do a hard refresh when I'm on that? No. We'll double check it. You never know. Joelle, is this a common requirement that you've had over the years with projects?
Yeah, I would say yeah.
And it's been a struggle in SharePoint because search kind of does this, but search doesn't make it look exactly like people sort of want it to look.
Exactly.
because they want the refiners across the top a lot of the times and search is down the left, and a lot of times just people don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely spent a lot of time in a previous project I worked on just making the filters and search, look the way that somebody wanted them. Like, I mean, we're talking like a lot of time, like hundreds of hours customizing filters and stuff like that.
Did I just make all those changes and then not save it? Yeah, I did save it. Oh, I still have my test button. Okay, I think it's okay. I think it's working. I didn't delete my test button. It was still there. So I think my functionality is still there. Okay. And let's try it out. All right, go to my list. It does have all my alls in there, but remember I defaulted it to all and it still didn't put them at all. So I have a couple of different options that I can do if I want this to default them all to all. And then when I pick stuff, it filters it. A couple of things I can do. One option would be to have two different galleries on this screen. I could have a gallery that just shows my whole collection of projects and a gallery that shows this filtered collection of projects. And then I could just use the visible property to say basically as soon as I click this button, it would set some sort of variable that would hide one gallery and show the other one. So that's one way I could do it. Another way that I could do it would be to somehow, when I arrive on this screen, somehow force these all to equal all, because just putting the default as all it's not liking that. So somehow get past this little bugginess and force them all to equal all is another option. So I'm going to try, we still got like 20 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and try both of those and see which one kind of work, because I don't know what kind of bugs I'm going to come across when I'm doing the one where I try and force it to equal all. So we'll just see which one will actually work out to get around this bugginess of them not equaling what I wanted their defaults to equal. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable. I haven't done this before. I'm just going to try it out. This is one of those things where like the first part of the Power Hour is scripted and it's all figured out and it's worked out and it works. And then I just start figuring stuff out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable and I'm going to put the value of that variable as that all value. And then I'm going to make the default be that variable. So when I go to this screen, I'm going to go, another thing that I'm going to do when I click this list button is go set a variable to, I'm going to call it var all, to just that value, asterisk space all. And then I'm going to make all those drop-down boxes default to the value of that variable. So now I click the button and I should have, look at my variables. See, now my variable all equals all. And then in here, oops, why is that? There we go. Zoom in again. Then go to each of these and go to this default. And instead of typing all in here, maybe make it equal the variable. Again, I don't know if this is going to work. It's pretty odd. So I'm going to copy that and just select both of those and put the default to that. And yeah, and so I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. I'm not sure what else I would need to do. Maybe reset could be involved. I'm not sure. Because again, this is a bug that I'm trying to work around. So let's go back to my main screen and preview it. And then go like that. Nope, it still didn't put them all back. It's got like, it's this dot selected thing that I think maybe I need to reset these. So see, it says reset false. Maybe if I change reset to true, maybe it has to do with the reset. I'm not sure what, I don't know. We'll see. And I'm also going to try it the other way with 2 different galleries. 2 different galleries doesn't sound like the best performance way of doing it, right? Let's see. Any other questions? Dan's telling you guys to pay attention. Thanks. All right. No, it didn't do it. Isn't that odd that I have to like switch them all to that and then collect? Oh, I know what I can do. Okay, so when I go to this screen, instead of putting filters on it, instead of putting filters on it, I'm just gonna collect the whole, just do everything. See, not put filters. I'll just do collect projects. There we go. I think that'll solve it. Look at that. It worked. Yeah, Amanda, maybe. But when I'm going to that screen, I'm setting the variable, so I don't know. I'm not sure. It's an odd little bug, but so I think I just worked it out. So look at that, it worked. Let's go publish that. What did I do that worked? Basically, when I'm arriving on this screen and I collect my filtered project, I'm just not putting a filter on it. And so it's still called collect filtered projects, but it's just everything. So then once I start picking things from the drop downs, then that's when I filter it. All right, let's do refresh just in case. And then so there's my form, and then I can go to my list of everything. Look at that, everything. And then I probably need to move these buttons over, don't I? Contoso, filter by just Contoso, and then I can do, or just filter by complete. Joelle, you sure have completed a lot of projects. Good job.
Oh yeah, I'm on it.
Projects. All right. Yeah. So that was a good solution. That's what PowerApps is all about, and that's why I love the way we teach our class, because we don't teach you just like specific ways to do all these little custom solutions. We teach you like how to understand PowerApps, so you'll know how to figure out just little stuff like that as you go. Because when you're building these custom solutions, you're constantly just kind of saying, now, okay, so I need to do this. What is the best way to do it? So like I said, for that one that I just did, I could have done it a couple of different ways, like try the variable, I could do like 2 different galleries and show one and hide the other, or do the thing that I finally figured out where I just collect the data and don't put a filter on it from the beginning, and then have to apply filters. Now, I do have 15 minutes left, so the part that I did not show you, the part that's even more complicated, is how to do this with those, and I'm going to, might as well just do this in this next 15 minutes, how to do this with those more complex fields. So if because if I try to take just my list of projects and do these filters on like choice fields, people fields, and lookup fields, those are, the way those fields are structured, it's more complex. So I'll show you like my collection of projects here. I haven't collected it yet. Let me go ahead and collect it. Okay, got my collection of projects right here. So you see how customer lookup is one of the ones that I want to be able to filter, and see how it's structured. And so is the choice field for status, and so is the project manager. These are all complex fields. So what I do when I'm doing my collection of projects is, instead of just trying to work with those more complex fields, I actually create additional columns. So as I'm collecting it, I create this customer TXT field where I go grab the actual just customer name. So it's going to be the value out of here. So I just go grab the value out of there as I'm doing the collection. Come on, go back. And then create these extra columns. So I've got customer text here. I've got PM text is where I go into the project manager complex field and go grab that person's display name. And then I've got status text is where I go into the project status and I grab the value out of there. So basically I'm going and getting it out of these sort of table inside of a table and putting it as just text as I do the collection, which makes me have the ability then to be able to more easily filter and sort by it. Because if I tried to filter by it just the way it is complex, I wouldn't be able to. It wouldn't give me that option. All right, so what I did is, let's go look at how I do that adding those columns. So this is the part up here at the top that I did not show you yet. So I'm creating, let me kind of split this out a little. Navigate. Okay. So this part up here. So I'm creating a collection called my collection of projects. And what I'm doing is for the data, Dobina says, how would you deal with a term store field? There is I don't know, Dan, did you write that blog post about how to deal with metadata in these? Because they have the similar, they're another type of the more complex fields. They've just got a little bit of a different structure than those other three. Well, all four of them have different sort of structures, but yeah, same way. Same method. So I'm going to collect projects from, and then my data source that I'm collecting is I'm doing this add columns function. So I'm adding columns to my, now projects is just my SharePoint list. That's just the data straight from SharePoint. So I'm adding, let me go enter over here. I think I put my enters in the wrong, hold on. I did my line breaks at the wrong places here. So you can see. Okay, so add column syntax is what's my data, and then you can see you can add a lot of different columns just with commas in between them. So I'm going to say I want this column to be called status text, and it's going to be my, and I'll just type project status. Let's see, was it called status? Project status is my SharePoint field. And since it's a complex field, it's going to have that dot thing that I have to get that value out of it. So I'm going to say I want status to equal that project status dot value. I want customer text to equal customer lookup dot value. And then I want the PM text. Let's show you what this one looks like. It's going to have a lot of different options. Project manager dot, and then look at this, it's got all these different attributes of that project manager that I could get. So technically I could do PM department, and I could say get the project manager dot department, and I can do a PM email and get the project manager email, and I could create all these text fields by extracting that information out of this field. So that's how I'm creating those as it's doing the collection. So since I have these status text, customer text, and PM text, then it gives me the ability to, let's go over here. Then it gives me the ability to use that information when I'm displaying my my gallery here, and when I'm doing that, like that custom filtering that custom sorting that I showed you last time. I'm having to do that on that text field because I can't do this custom thing that I showed you last time on one of those complex fields straight up. It won't let me do that dot something in this sorting. So I had to, for these three, I had to do PM text, status text, customer text. I had to do that, use those fields to make it work. And in like this field right here is the customer text field, and this field here is the PM text. So those are the fields that I'm showing in my gallery. And my status, where did it go? Status text. It's empty for some reason. So when I'm doing my collections of those three fields that I showed you, I'm getting it out of my collection of projects, the customer text. And that's just straight text is what I'm using to pull into like its own little collection by itself, and then adding the all to it. Cool. All right. Wow, I think I finished early. Let's see. So let's go look at, let me delete my little button here. Let's go look at the final results. I'll just publish it one more time. And go. And we can talk about, Joelle, you want to talk for a minute, and when I wrap up, talk for a minute about what you're going to be teaching next week too.
Yeah, sure. So next week we are going to look at the new site designs. So I'm going to show you how to create those scripts, how to apply them, and then how to utilize them inside of Office 365. So that's something that got released a few weeks back. So we're going to go through that, and then also just look at a bunch of new web parts that have hit over the last couple of weeks, some Office 365 connectors and the planner web part and that kind of thing. Just take a look at some of that stuff.
Cool, thanks. So to wrap up, I'm going to go over to my list. I have customers and statuses and things that I can sort by, project managers I can sort by, and then I have these drop downs that I can use to filter my list down. And I can either select all or select something particular, and then I have a very interactive list where I can really drill down to what I need to see. And I cannot wait to talk about, let me go switch my screen over here. Any last questions, just let me know about everything we just built. And I know it's kind of fast, but I can't start from scratch every single time I do Power Hours, so that's why we teach a class about PowerApps, and it teaches you everything from scratch. All right. Okay, so I'm really excited about that demo you're going to do next week, Joelle, because site designs are, now the word design to me is a little misleading, because what it really is, it's like a replacement for site templates.
Right.
And they're calling it a design because it's not, I don't know, because it incorporates so much more than just being a template, I guess. But
yeah,
it's the new way of doing templates, and it's pretty cool. It's a little not I wouldn't say devy, but it involves PowerShell and some sort of codey type stuff. But Joelle and I are not programmers, and we can figure it out. So at least Joelle can figure it out. She's done it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where luckily enough, it's like you create your template and you set that up with PowerShell once, and then your users can go out there and they can just utilize that same template as many times as they need to without having to do PowerShell. So it's really just the initial setup, or if you need to make any changes to that template in the future, you would go out there and fix it or whatever. So that makes it a little bit better. So your users don't actually have to run PowerShell every time they want to create a site from it, which is nice.
Yeah, it's huge. It's just in the regular new site interface, and that's super exciting. So, all right. Well, we're going to wrap it up, and looking forward to your demo next week. And just you guys check out iwmentor.com and check out our PowerApps training class. It's a lot of fun. Oh, and if you guys are going to SBC, the big SharePoint conference, it's just in a few weeks in Vegas. I'm teaching a full day PowerApps workshop. The last day, it's like the Thursday, it's a post-conference workshop, and that's going to be jam-packed. So, all right, over and out. See you all later.
Have a good one.